Good evening, Fernwood. It is your elfin elocutioner, Neil, and it's time for us to elucidate on another episode of Mary Hartman, Mary Hartman. It's episode 249 today, and yesterday was pretty heartbreaking, so let's take a look back. In the factory break room, Tom is sleepless and dizzy with worry because he has not made any progress in finding Mary in the wrecked Section K, as Loretta and Kathy wonder what they can do to help. An injured Merle comes in saying there's been a setback in the dig, a cave-in, which makes Tom even more desperate. Then Martha and Vernon show up, and Vernon recommends that Merle lead a prayer for the group. And after Merle finishes the heartfelt prayer, Vernon says that there's very little chance that they will find anybody alive in there, that it might be too expensive to dig. And this sends Mary's family members into a state. Merle promises that there is a SWAT team on the way that might be able to help with this. And then Mac shows up in the break room to encourage everyone to dig by hand. And it seems like Mac has made an impression on Kathy. At the Jeter household, Merle hands Tex the police procedure handbook, which is immediately disregarded because Tex believes that you should look to the minorities for crime. After all, he is a white supremacist bigot. Merle questions Tex's assertion, and Tex is able to sweep his bigotry under the rug. Then Kathy shows up with some evidence that Howie has found towards the GGG, and as she leaves, Tex tries to sweep that under the rug too, and when Merle objects, Tex recommends that they have an impartial advisor, and that would be Lila. And then at the Capri Lounge, a downtrodden Tom sits with Martha, who serves him a Pepsi, as they both recount how they have stood in Mary's way in their lives. Tom is starting to realize exactly how much he has clipped Mary's wings, and Martha remembers from Mary's childhood how she didn't encourage her dreams. And then Martha and Tom share a dream sequence, starting with Martha and George having a romantic and lovely life as Mary appears in her Shirley Temple dress, to which Martha responds, "Let's get Mary some tap dance classes." And the dream shifts as we see Mary on stage. She sings a heart-wrenching rendition of "Someone to Watch Over Me" as members of her family, and especially Tom, look on in awe. And as Mary ends the haunting ballad, we fade to Tom and Martha sitting with their feelings. And then we end the episode with Mary in Section K, wondering if anyone is thinking of them. Y'all, yesterday's episode left me with a lot of feelings, so I expect we will have some plot-heavy stuff going on today. There's only one way to find out, though, so let's do it.
Mary Hartman! Mary Hartman!
We're all gonna die.
Honey, what tie do you want to wear to the Haggers tonight? The Flora and Fauna print or the Mount Vesuvius commemorative?
No matter.
Oh, well, come on, honey. You gotta perk up. Let that old Jeter charisma shine through, huh?
No, I ain't that kind of person. I can't fake no confidence like that. I just don't seem to understand. I'm a burdened man here.
Oh, I know. Poor baby. Which burden seems to be getting you down the most, honey? The corrupt new chief of police that you handpicked, our two-bit blackmailing maid, or the catastrophic explosion at the plant. Can you put your finger on it?
I don't know. I feel like I let my own self down.
Yeah, true. I know just what you mean, honey. Wonder who that is.
Hi, fella! This is it, Merle Jeter. I know what the hell you are, and I got the toys to prove it, pal. Look at that! Look at it! Don't touch anything! Don't touch anything! That's Mary's puppet. You ought to know that. You ought to know that very well. You stuck it in my very own house and gave it to her, you turkey! Come on, answer me! Answer me! What the hell is this? Another famous 2 minutes of silence?
Tom, please, just let Merle explain, okay?
I'd like to see him explain something. I'd like to see him explain buying a jump rope for a grown woman and giving it to my wife. My wife, who happens to be Mary Hartman. Give it to her!
Tom, Merle has been under enormous pressure lately. I don't think that you really understand what a sensitive man Merle is.
Listen, my wife, Mary Hartman, happens to be trapped in the middle of an automobile plant. And this man goes and buys presents for him, and I go home at night, and I find presents all over our bedroom. Now, what the hell is that? That's my wife. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
That's my wife, Mary Hartman.
Yeah.
Mrs. Tom Hartman. She is not the mayor's playmate. Listen, Jeter, I'm going to tell you something right now. Listen to me. Listen, you know what the hell you are, huh? You know what you are? You're a phony. An F-O-N-E-Y. Do you know that? At about $10 to $100, and you went out, and you probably didn't even do anything about that rescue operation, right? Not a damn thing. What are you trying to do, huh? Trying to bury your own guilt, right? You go up and you give my wife toys, little toys like this one, right? You give her little toys like that. And then you're gonna let her die, right? Huh? Is that your game? Is that your game, Jeter? What the hell what the hell were you counting on? You're counting on your clout as a mayor to impress her? Is that it? Thought she'd fall right at your feet? Is that your game? Huh? Come on, you hit me. Come on.
No.
Hit me.
Please.
Hit me.
Tom,
Hit me.
One moment, Tom, listen, don't you understand that's what it is? It's all a harmless game. You see, Merle and Mary have a kind of a spree together. No, it's more like a special friendship, see? And that shouldn't threaten you at all. Look, see, Tom, a man can have one woman for a friend and another woman for a wife. Well, look at him. Now, does that look like a threat to you? Oh, come on, Tom. Merle is no Dennis Foley.
Listen, let me tell you something, Jeter. Let me tell you something right now. I want my Mary. I want her out of that plant, and I want her alive. You understand that? Huh? Now, you stay away from her. Listen, she's my wife. And I've been married to her a long time. And I love her with my whole heart, my whole soul, my whole mind. Now you stay away from her. Now you keep your damn distance. Or I swear to God, I'll... Got it? You keep your distance.
Quarter pounder, triple decker.
We made a deal not to talk about food.
I'm sorry, Tiny. I'll try to think about it without moving my lips.
I know what we have to do here. I really do. I know what we have to do.
Oh. My God, Tiny. She's finally flipped her cookies.
No, Pop, this is very important. See, doing this work gives us a purpose. And if you have a purpose, then you have a reason to go on living.
But Mary, the belt is going the wrong way.
It doesn't matter, Bob. Don't you see? The work has to be done. Because if the work isn't done, we're just going to have to make it up. That's all they'll make us make it up.
Stop the belt! Stop it!
Okay.
Oh, go ahead and shout what good you're going to do. They haven't heard us for 2 days. What makes you think you're going to hear us now?
I know. Listen, I know what we have to do here. I really do. I know what we have to do. We have to communicate to each other. We have to communicate to each other. Tiny. What's your most private secret wish?
I want a woman.
Hamburger.
I want a woman.
And Coca-Cola. Lots of ice. Oh, chili burger. Cheeseburger. Bacon burger.
I guess if I just had
Banana burger.
one wish, I guess it would be to love Heather. Oh, I mean, I love her. I like her. I like her. I do. I mean, when we walk down the street, you know, me and Tom and Heather, I feel like we're like a loving family and all that. But sometimes when I'm with her, I get this awful feeling comes over me that feels an awful lot like hatred. So I guess if I were to have one wish, it would be that I would wake up in the morning and that feeling wouldn't be there anymore. And it would be like replaced with a feeling of love-trid.
I just want a woman.
See, I can understand that.
Oh, big, round, juicy hamburger. With juice flowing out of it. Medium rare. With ketchup and mustard and cheese and lettuce and mayonnaise. And I'd pick it up, and the juice would come through my fingers, and I'd bite into it. And the juice would run down my chin, onto my neck, and stain my shirt. I can see the stains on my shirt.
You see, this is, to me, honestly, what is so exciting and funny about this experience. I mean, there is an element about this that is very difficult to explain. I mean, no one's going to understand this. But this is what makes for better relationships, and it makes for finer relationships in the future. For those of us, you know, who live through it. Hello, strangers. Put your loving hand in mine. Hello, strangers.
Hi, honey. I'm home.
Oh, hi, baby boy. Honey, where's Mac?
What? Okay, I can take a joke. All right. Mac is not here, honey. It's just going to be you and me tonight. And 3, 4, 5, 6. What's going on?
Charlie, honey, did you forget or something? I mean, the Jeters is coming over tonight. They're bringing Leila with them. You were supposed to get Mac. I mean, we're going to set the two of them up again. Now, hurry, quick, go call him on the phone and get him over here.
Well, I'll try, babe.
Hi! Hello, honey. Good morning.
Oh, hi, Charlie. Oh, well, it is so festive here. Dazzling yet homey.
Oh, thank you. We like it. You know, interior decorating's kind of a little second hobby of mine. Let me take your little bunny coat here.
Sure
Can I talk to Max?
Rather, you have developed into some kind of little hostess here. You know that?
I'll be with you just as soon as I get off the phone.
Hey, listen, y'all just sit down. Make yourselves.
Beautiful, really. You look at this, Wanda.
Did y'all see the Walter Cronkite news tonight, did you? Hmm?
No.
What was it?
The man devoted an entire minute to Fernwood's disaster.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, he sure did. And you know what he said? He said thousands is strapped. He exaggerated just to poop, you know, because right then they went to this underarm commercial.
Merle, we've gone national. That's spectacular.
Where's Leila?
Lila, she had to go to the store there for a minute. She'll be a little late.
Oh, I see.
Well, it's been some time, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has.
What the heck have you done here, Loretta? I mean, have you done some redecorating or what? It just looks different. What?
Yeah, well, you know, I put up a few little dinner party decorations and everything, but we do have a few knickknacks. We got this after Jaws came in. I think it's cute. This is a Liberty Bell coaster set.
You know, I'll bet every one of these little knickknacks has a little story all its own, huh?
Well, I mean, they've got some memories behind them, but, you know, my Aunt Nikki Dale, she was the one that had lots of stories behind her stuff because she made everything with her own hands. She was a great creative craftsman, you know, Clorox bottles, milk cartons, glitter stuff, just darling stuff all over her house. But me, I personally am more creative with my brain than my hands, you know. Of course, now I did make them styrofoam stacked bicentennial sequinette Christmas trees,
Hey,
you know.
that's going back a little, you know that? Ooh, yeah.
It is, but this stuff here, this tickler stuff is really more not for stories, but for the decorative look of them. You know.
Would you tell him to call Charlie Haggers just as soon as he comes in? Okay, thank you. Honey, Mac ain't there, but I left a message for him.
Well, he'll probably call back in just a few minutes. Listen, I'm going to get us some drinks, and I'll be right back.
Great, thank you.
Oh, what a cunning ashtray. Red, white, and blue.
It's for the bicentennial.
Oh, really? Huh?
Where'd you get this out, Charlie?
Here, y'all go. Just help yourselves. Pick the soft drink of your choice. I'll get that. I bet it's Mac.
Isn't that artistic, Bill?
Yeah, hello? Oh, yeah. Just hold on 1 second, all right? Just a second. Merle, it's for you.
Yeah. Right, you got something to prize them hors d'oeuvres off there with?
Yeah.
Yellow. Yeah. Oh, really? Well, what? Oh, well, that's too bad. No. If you can't make it, you can't make it. That's all. No, I understand that. Of course, we'll all be very disappointed over here, but... Right. Okay. All right. Thanks for calling. Hey, you guys, that's Lila. She can't make it. She said she's got to do some official business for the city or something. Wouldn't even tell me what it is. Gosh, I'm sorry, you guys, but it's...
Listen, it's all right. It's all right. We can have plenty of fun. Just the 5 of us when Mac gets here.
Let's do her. Yeah. All right, that's a
I
spirit.
bet you. What do you want to bet? That in Lila right now calling up to say that she can't come after all. Hello? Is this Lila? I'll tell you what, the mayor just started eating his hors d'oeuvres and everything. If it's not too important, why don't you just let me take your name and number, and he'll call you back after his supper's done. Who? Oh, come on. Oh, really? Who is this? Really?
Oh,
Really?
absolutely.
I'll get him just 1 second. All right, he'll just be right there. Just a flash. Just a minute. Mary! This is the president
What?
of the United States of America. Carter on this boat.
President Carter?
John Carter on this boat. Over here now. Look at him.
Wanda, do I even own a tuxedo?
Oh, no, you don't need a tuxedo on. He wears sweaters. Go ahead and talk to the man.
President called me.
Yes, of course he's calling you. You are presiding over the biggest personal tragedy in this country.
And it's a lot of fun. I can't believe it.
Hello? Yes, this is Mayor Jeter. Good evening, Mr. President. How are you? Fine. Excuse me? Oh, the tragedy. Well, I tell you, actually, it's fine too. I don't think there's any question but what we're going to get them people out of there. actually won my election by quite some plurality. I guess you heard about that. Excuse me? You didn't hear about it?
Of course he heard about it. Politicians are so jealous.
Oh, yeah. Dear Lord, please, I'm going to send up this little silent prayer for Mary and George and what's his name?
Tiny.
Tiny.
Right.
And just tack that prayer right onto that of the president's. Thank you.
That's right. Yes, sir. No, that's right. I did talk to the governor. I'll tell you what he's offering here. He offered to send down some of them National Guard units and federal aid. What? He thinks this is so serious that he ought to send us some federal aid here.
Yeah?
Yes, sir. No, I heard you. Yes, sir. Well, sir, if I may, I'll tell you what I'd do on that. I would hold that federal aid in abeyance there. Yes, sir. Well, what I'm figuring is that with my leadership here in the community, that we can get them people out of there just by our own self. Well, thank you so much. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you so much for calling. This is quite an honor for me, I'll tell you that. Well, God bless you too, sir. Bye-bye. President of the United States is all that was, is President Carter. My buddy. Charlotte, you can say that again. And I'll tell you something. I'm going to save every soul in that auto plant, and I can promise you that right now.
Merle, you're a national figure. I mean, how many people would the president call?
Not that many, Wanda.
He doesn't have the time.
Of course, there was that little Girl Scout, from Okmulgee, had German measles,
What about her?
Well, I hear, last week you called her.
Well, what do you mean you can't put me through because it's more than a 3-unit call? This is the mayor's red telephone. Who is this? Oh, the mayor's secretary. Yes, well, perhaps I could...
It's no use. We can't get to him.
Well, how far did you get this time?
We made it past Associated Press and them boys from UPI, and we made it past Time and Newsweek. I just shoved Ann Rather right out of the way there, and Barbara Walters. And by that time, most of them were too tired to go any further.
Hey, Vernon, now how the hell can they start the rescue operation?
No,
Now, come!
Tom, it's not a stop. It's just a slowdown.
How the hell can they slow down when my wife is trapped in there, huh? How come?
Relax.
Well, look, it's an engineering problem down there in Section K. I mean, them girders, they're up there like pickup sticks, and we don't know which one to pick and which one to stick.
Yes, let's... Kaboom!
Oh, Vernon. I'm gonna see about the men out here. I'll be back.
We assume that you don't want the roof to cave in on poor
What about
Mary.
SWAT, huh? What about SWAT? Where the hell are they? Where's SWAT?
Tom, we're doing everything that we can. Now, believe me, SWAT cannot do any more than we're doing.
They're here! They're here!
They're right outside! The SWAT squad!
SWAT is here, that's great!
They're down the parking lot, they're on their way out!
Hey, Mary! Hey, Mary, you hear that? SWAT is coming! SWAT is on its way! Nothing stops SWAT!
All right! All right! All right!
Wait a minute. You're the SWAT team?
You're SWAT?
So yeah, it looks like some plot points are moving forward here. We get a brief glimpse into Section K where Tiny and Mary are entertaining themselves with a homespun version of checkers, but it really seems like they are starting to lose it. George completely is out of his head at this point. And then we cut over to Merle and Wanda. Merle is in a dark place right now, and it's not even the bad situation that he feels bad about, but that he seems to be failing. So his self-esteem is in a low place, which is surprising to hear from Merle. And Wanda at least is listening to him about that. But then Tom shows up, and we see those toys that Merle gifted to Mary over a month ago. I was expecting that to show up a little bit earlier, but this is the conflict between Tom and Merle. Because Tom is understandably angry that a man has been paying special attention to his wife. It's one thing for your partner to have a friend, but the attention that Merle has given Mary in this case is a little more than being a friend, if you ask me. Tom, I think now that he has reassessed his relationship to Mary, is looking at this in a threatening way. You know, it's not mentioned often, but there was one kiss between Mary and Merle. Not that that's something that Tom is talking about, but I can get why he's angry. And Merle doesn't defend himself. So I see his side too. That fight was chilling for me because both ends of it, well, it was Tom yelling and Merle standing there and taking it. And then we are back in section K, and George is preoccupied with his starvation, and Mary comes up with the idea of working so that they have something to keep them going because they are starting to lose it being isolated for so long. I think many of us understand how isolation might feel after the last year, and they have been isolated in quite a traumatic circumstance. So Mary's idea is to keep working so that they have a purpose to keep moving forward. Tiny cannot take the machine being on, and Mary switches tactics to keep them sane, to talk about their most personal secret want. And of course, Tiny's is just lust, and George is just hunger. And Mary then actually reveals something that we've kind of known and has been suggested over the entirety of the series, which is that Mary doesn't exactly feel love for Heather. And in this case, she even brings it further to say that what she feels underneath there's a core of her feeling that feels like hatred. We often, in the comments, will talk about how Heather is a monster or that she's spoiled. I feel like there's perspective in this because Mary causes these feelings for Heather, and Heather responds in kind. We've often blamed Heather for the way that she feels. She's not even in this episode, but this is Mary revealing something really dark and painful. And I feel like parents are expected to just love their children unconditionally. And here we're seeing that that's not the case for Mary. And I think that it's really touching, painful, awful that Mary wishes that instead of that kernel of hatred that she has in her heart, she could wake up one morning and feel something else, which she calls love-trid. And to be honest, no one in the room is listening to the other. George and Tiny still just want a woman and a burger, and I guess they're not going to get that right now. And then there's the party scene that was scheduled at the Haggers where Loretta and Merle were planning to bring Mac and Lila together again. And of course there's the awkward interchange that neither of their intended guests are showing up. And to be honest, there was no interest between them, so I think there's no real harm in them not showing up. Lila seems to be much more interested in Tex, and Mac at the moment is preoccupied at the factory. Then Merle gets a call from President Carter, who offers federal aid, and I was surprised that Merle would turn that down, right? Because the federal aid, as I understand it, would be money to help pay for the problems that are going on, and Merle, for some reason, thinks that they will be able to do it themselves, so he turns that money down. I don't know that the people who are there, Wanda, Charlie, and Loretta, realize what that means, or maybe they didn't hear. But they're happy that the president called in general, and Merle does leave that call motivated to make a rescue happen. At the very least, there seems to be some feeling to move in the right direction, even though some potentially big mistakes have been made. And then we're back at the break room, and Vernon isn't getting any progress on the dig, and Matt comes up saying that just the press is hard enough to get through, the team is exhausted, and there are mechanical issues in getting down to Section K. And Tom shows up to try to shove things in the right direction, but there is the legitimate issue that going into a cave-in area is really dangerous, and it could be worse if they do the wrong move. However, there is some good news that the SWAT team, SWAT team, shows up, and, well, it's a bit of a surprise that they are all little people. I actually feel like maybe there's an advantage to having at least one person who can fit into small spaces, but I guess to find that out, we'll have to check out tomorrow. Thank you so much for watching with me. Thank you so much for leaving your thoughts, feelings, and impressions down in the comments. Thank you for elucidating with me, and we will see you tomorrow night in Fernwood.